Hello and welcome to Dude's Comics of the Weeks. I'm Jason, and this is my review video where I review the 5 books I enjoyed the most this week from what I picked up. So, without further ado, let's get into those reviews. Well, first up this week, in my Comics of the Week, we have Green Lantern, New Guardians, issue number 28. The story this month, we kick off a new story, great place to jump on board the book. Kyle and Carol are taken to this planet by the Guardians to investigate this new religion that's spreading through a part of space called the Light and the Fire. And it seems a peaceful kind of religion, but every planet it goes to, it spreads and becomes the religion of that planet. So they just kind of want to investigate it, make sure nothing untoward's going on. They arrive on this planet, and the wealthy people on this planet and the people that have taken up this religion are at conflict because the rich people don't like this religion because it preaches equality, and they don't want equality. They want to stay wealthy and rich and above people, and so that creates conflict that our White Lantern gets involved in. And so yeah, and the story sort of kicks off from there as they learn more about this religion, and it's kind of how can they help these people on this planet resolve this situation. Meanwhile, in another part of space, we've got something else developing that it looks like it's going to come back big in a future issue. I enjoyed this story. I thought it was nice. I like about this book that they have the shorter story arcs. I think that's really nice. We've got so used to in comics because everybody's always thinking about the trade when they're writing these books, and so the stories kind of fit for 5 or 6 issues for an arc, or if it's a big arc you might have 12 issues which would take up 2 trades. So they're always thinking about the trade and trying to fit it into a trade, and it's just nice to have a book where the stories are a different length and we have these nice kind of 2-part stories. That's just a really nice change of pace and gives the book a totally different kind of vibe. The art by Brad Walker in this book is really good. Yes, there are some ideas you could say are very similar to what's been happening in Four God of Thunder, but it's going to be interesting how they develop in this book, and I really enjoyed this issue, and I give issue number 28 of Green Lantern New Guardians 5 stars. Well, next up we have Avengers World, issue number 3 from Marvel Comics. This book, basically it's been set up because the Avengers team is so big now that we can't always deal with individual members or get to know them because there's so many members, and it would get in the way of the story. So what they've done is they've released this book, another excuse to have another Avengers book, but it kind of has them going off on solo missions so we can get to know our characters a bit more. This issue, it's the turn of Shang-Chi. And back in issue 1, a bunch of characters were sent on different missions. Shang-Chi, along with Wolverine and Black Widow, went to Mandapore, and the Gorgon is raising this dragon that's buried beneath Mandapore. So this dragon has risen now, and Mandapore is this kind of island on top of the dragon, as this dragon's just flying around. So Shang-Chi breaks away from the rest of the group to go and take down the Gorgon. And this leads to basically the whole issue is just one big fight scene between Shang-Chi and Gorgon. And you might initially think, well, God, why am I going to pay $3.99 just to read a book that's one big fight scene? But it is so much fun. This book took a character that I don't really know much about in Shang-Chi, but it made me hungry for a Shang-Chi solo series. This was brilliant, and the thing that made it for me was the inner monologue here. It was just superb, getting to understand why, how he does, what he does, and his thinking behind his fighting. It was just fantastic. It was so much fun. The art by Stefano Caselli is just gorgeous, and all in all, this was a really fun experience. And yeah, it's a bit much to pay for just one scene, but when a scene's this good, you can't help but filling you with happiness and joy. And I really enjoyed the book, and I give Avengers World issue number 3 5 stars. Well, next up in my reviews we have The Punisher issue number 2 from Marvel Comics. This issue, we continue the story with Punisher trying to set down this group called the Dust Souls. They go to AIM and get some weapon that they're going to use, so Punisher needs to shut down this weapon, and the whole issue kind of builds to the reveal at the end of what this weapon is. Meanwhile, unknown to the Punisher, he's been tracked by the Howling Commandos who are trying to catch him. We don't quite know why yet. It seems like they've been hired by someone to do this, but we don't know by whom. and so they're trying to find ways to find the Punisher and kind of find out who his associates are. This issue was an absolute joy. I'm really enjoying this book and this character. I love the supporting cast we've got there. At the moment, you've got Lou, who owns the kind of cafe that Frank hangs out in. We've got Officer Sammy Stone of the LAPD. We've introduced a coyote this issue called Loot. And we've also got Tugs, who's the guy who gets the stuff for Punisher from the army, all the weapons and stuff. So, you know, I'm liking the supporting cast. It's amazing how much in 2 issues, how much I've come to care about these people, and I'm really interested in what happened to the people as the book goes on. So I think that's got to be a credit to the writing, that you get invested emotionally that quickly. Also, I really like the placing of the Punisher. The fact that they kind of got this hierarchy of, you got your heroes and they deal with superhero stuff, but then there's this other criminal element that are too dangerous for the police but not dangerous enough for the heroes, and Punisher kind of fits in this gap in between, and he takes care of threats that fall in that in between. That's not a big enough threat for the heroes but too much for the police. He fits in the gap, and I really like how they've set that up. This book so far has been a real joy. I'm really enjoying it. Definitely think I'm on this book for the long haul, and I give Punisher issue number 2 5 stars. Next up is the penultimate review of my comics of the week, as we have Justice League issue number 28. And this book, it says on the cover, is a tie-in issue, but we only get a little bit of Further Evil at the beginning and at the end. The bulk of the issue is the origin of the Metal Man, so if you're only buying it for a tie-in, then you could maybe skip it. The Metal Men may be playing a part in Further Evil, so you might want to see their origin, but it's one that, you know, unless that interested you, it doesn't really advance the Forever Evil story, so it's, in that respect, you could maybe skip it. Like I say, this issue is the origin of the Metal Men, how they came to be, who they are. I come to this book with a totally clean slate. I knew of the Metal Men, but I didn't know what they were, and I had never read them in the past. And certainly from this issue, I enjoyed their origin here, and they're definitely a group of characters I would look at buying in the future. It has a totally different feel to anything else DC do. You know, Marvel, they have the books that are like a universe where the books in tone are a lot lighter. There's elements of comedy at times in their books, and they're a lot more fun. Sometimes the books are like maybe feel fun, but there's a dark undercurrent. And also their universe is a very scientific universe where heroes get their powers most of the time through scientific means. DC, on the other hand, traditionally seems to be a much more magic-based universe, where a lot of heroes are kind of based on magic. Like, you go back to the original Green Lantern and the Flash, and they got their powers more in a magical kind of way than the way that they did when they relaunched them in the 50s. So yeah, traditionally, they seem to have a much bigger magic kind of power base, and their books in tone are often much more serious. Where Metal Men just feels like a totally kind of Marvel idea and a kind of Marvel book of they're these robots, which is a scientific kind of origin for them, but also there's kind of almost comedic element to them, and it's got, the book's got a light tone, but there's always this dark undercurrent there. So, you know, I found them totally and tonally different to anything I've read at DC, and I wouldn't mind seeing a Metal Men book, because I think it would really stand out from the other DC books and be different. I like the characters, how each robot had a different character. I also really liked Will Magnus. I know at times, just watching the news, and you can feel utterly ashamed that you're a human being, where you see some of the atrocities that we do to each other. And so I could totally empathise with Will Magnus not really wanting anything to do with human beings and looking to build these robots. All in all, I enjoyed this issue. I thought it was a nice introduction. I could understand people maybe been upset because, you know, it's taking you away from the original origin, which I don't really know much about. But I'm new to a lot of these characters in the New 52, so for me, I just judge the story as the story, and I enjoyed this one, and I would give issue number 28 of Justice League 5 stars. And finally today, in Dude's Comics of the Week, I almost said it, I almost got it wrong. Said goodness, but you know, that's done, that's history. Yeah, the last review here in Dude's Comics of the Week is Wonder Woman, issue number 28. Oh, I love this book. Every issue delivers. And the thing that I love about this issue is, like last issue, we had about 4 stories going on, which were all well paced, and it didn't feel like you was flitting from one to the other. It was all nicely paced still, but you had 4 stories. At the end of that issue, 2 of them stories come together. This issue, by the end of it, it seems to be that all the stories have kind of come together as one. After what he's been doing, we get to see Apollo get the smack laid down on him this issue by Firstborn. Firstborn has been tortured by Apollo over the last few issues, so it's really good to see him get some payback. And the dialogue in those scenes is tremendous. They're full of intensity, and I really enjoy those moments. Still loving how they write Wonder Woman. That, yes, she's badass, but she's able to show compassion, so she feels like a well-rounded character. Because sometimes when people want to write a badass chick, they end up losing their humanity, losing, maybe their softer side, and they're just totally hard. And those are often feel one-dimensional characters. Wonder Woman feels a fully rounded character because she's got different sides to her. The whole book is just a joy. The stories are all coming together. The imagination in this book is outstanding, and I like as well that it feels like its own separate thing. It feels like, like X Factor, where the original, the X Factor that finished last year, Peter David was left in his own little corner of the Marvel Universe just to play around with these characters, and it feels very much like that's happening here, that we've just got Wonder Woman in her own little book that touches nothing else, and I really like that, and I really enjoy this book, and long may it continue. And I give Wonder Woman issue number 28 5 stars. So those are my reviews for this week. I have got some more books to review, that if you're interested in seeing these books get reviewed, then you need to go over the weekend. I will be uploading another video called Dude's Comic Book Roundup, where I will be reviewing She-Hulk issue number 1, Ghosted issue number 7, Captain America issue number 17, Trinity of Sin, Pandora issue number 8, and Batman and Two-Face issue number 28. So if you want to know what I thought of those books, make sure you check out Dude's Comic Book Roundup. That's been another edition of Dude's Comics of the Week. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know you like what I'm doing. Please feel free in the comments below to sort of say what were your books of the week. You know, what were the books that you picked out that you really enjoyed this week. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I was hoping the next week to kind of catch up on Marvel on my graphic novel reviews, but now I've got training next week, so one of the days I was going to do the videos or upload them at least has kind of gone. So I'm hopefully record some videos on Monday that I'll end up kind of uploading over the course of the week, but certainly not this weekend. The following weekend I should be able to catch up with some reviews because I've got the weekend off. So thank you once again for watching. I've been Jason. This has been Dude's Comics of the Week. Bye for now.